But no, I'm Alex here with Michael, and we've got a great show lined up for everyone. This morning, we're going to be joined shortly by Erica Kavanaugh. I guess both manager and probably that inventor, founder, name creator of Honeysuckle Creek Farm. And then later in the show, we'll be joined by Matthias Jonas, our monthly meetup with Matthias. He's here in studio. And so we have a great show lined up for everyone this morning. You know, it's definitely the kind of weather where you should grab
we were literally talking right before kind of like the microphones went hot that it feels like we're being robbed a little bit of the last month of summer because just August has been like cloudy, it's been cool, and I know like some people enjoyed the cool weather. It was nice for like 1 week to get a reprieve because July was really hot, but now it's like we're into like the third week of August and
I'm over
77 and rain is just like, come on, like this is terrible. I just want the hot weather back, or at least give me at least the last 2-3 weeks of summer that we got left.
Exactly, it'll be gone before you know it.
Yeah, and then it's gonna be fall, and everyone loves fall, but still, I give me summer while it's still here. Fall will come.
As I say, give me summer. So, but we'll see. Hopefully that happens. It may just be a passing.
I don't know. That we were just talking about this hurricane that's flying close by. I wonder if it's going to start bringing even more cool weather because it sucks in all the humidity. You know?
But what can be done? What can be done? That just means instead of me saying, I was just joking, I don't have to do the iced café con leche line. I can just say, get your café con leche, get into a cozy place.
Room temperature or warm, I guess, at this point.
I mean, you just order a café con leche.
Yeah. Just triple shot espresso, because I did a double shot espresso this morning. It's not insufficient. Exactly, perfect word.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, make your way to Guajiros and get the Danilo special with the 3 shots.
Exactly.
And
the sugar, poof.
And that'll do the trick. That'll do the trick this morning. But alrighty, let's see who's tuning in.
We're back to figuring out who's tuning in because unfortunately, when Michael and Xavier host the show, there's nobody looking online.
There's less who's tuning in.
Exactly. Well, like thank you for everyone who watched.
Oh, Rosalia Todaro is loving the show. Always appreciate that. Let's see who else. I always like to double check and then back
But it's still early. We can't be too judgmental.
No, it is.
People want to see our faces. That's what it is. You know, they don't start looking until they see us.
Exactly. So we'll have a lot of viewers tuning in and at least liking, sharing. You know, I know we've had. Was it Charles Roper on last time?
No. So last time we had another farm. It was Sun. Oh my gosh, my
Your brain. No worries. Worries. It's not
Remember, I didn't get my triple shot espresso.
Question.
Yes.
It's not a trivia question.
It felt like one.
Yes.
We had Sound CVille, which was the 2 gentlemen who kind of write a blog covering the music scene in Charlottesville, and then we had another. It was September Sun Produce, I believe. I think that's what it was. So. And yes, and they grew like tomatoes and stuff like that. Xavier was very excited because he got some good tips on his garden.
Very nice. Very nice. Can't complain about that.
No.
Absolutely cannot. Oh yeah, let's do it. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Michael. We're very excited to have you joining us on a little bit of a chilly, rainy morning.
Cloudy, rainy, disgusting morning. I'd be honest, it was tough to get out of bed this morning. You wake up and you're looking at the clock and you're like, no, why does that?
My little Maria, she woke up at 6 on the dot.
Yeah. Well, babies don't feel that way the same way we do.
Yeah, the room was dark anyway. She just wakes up hungry.
Yeah.
And I went to go look out the window, and I'm like, oh,
I know.
No, the sun's
I know.
not even up
You're like,
yet.
Don't you want to sleep a little more? I think you want to sleep a little more, right?
I told Elizabeth while Maria was going to go, feed, I said, just wait me in half an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing I can do between now and then.
I know.
If you need me, wait me.
I still see the little skinny eyes you got right now. It's like, you look like you woke up.
That just means it's a beautiful morning, right?
Exactly.
Grab your café con leche, get to your cozy place, and watch some Today Mañana.
Exactly.
we will bring some sunshine because we have two great guests that will bring some sunshine to our audience today. We're going to be joined shortly in the show by Erica Kavanaugh of Honeysuckle Creek Farm, and then later on in the show it's our monthly meetup with Matthias, who always brings a smile to our face. And everyone's very
and it's funny about the monthly meetup with Matthias. I was just thinking about October's coming soon, in like a couple months. So
I'm hoping for a redux of Oktoberfest
I don't want to put the pressure on Matthias, but I wouldn't mind. We'll be bringing some German beer. He comes in his lederhosen or something like that.
You wish. But you never know. You never know. But so it's a great one lined up. Be sure to send us any comments, any questions. Be sure to like and share. I see Connie Sylvester liked in the show this morning. Who else we got? I'm getting back into the swing of seeing how many people are liking the show. I have to find. I said, "Oh yeah, that's where I go to find out where people like the show." So, if you are just liking it, I will find you. Yeah. I will put your comments.
But not in the Liam Neeson taken way.
Yeah, no. In a positive. I will read your comment nicely on air.
There we go.
Kind of way. Exactly. So be sure to like, share, send us questions, comments. Love having them. Love the audience engagement, and as always, of course. Big thank you to our presenter, Emergent Financial Services, and our awesome partners, Matthias Young Realty, Charlottesville Opera, Florida Delante. We love all our fantastic partners.
Yeah.
And one of our favorite things is to work with them.
And always be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I got to do Xavier's little line.
Xavier's line for him.
He almost forgot last week. It's,
terrible.
He always gets 2 out of 3. He'll be like and share, and I'm like, subscribe. Or sometimes it'll be subscribe and share, and I'm like, and like. He gets 2 out of 3 every time.
2 out of 3 is not bad. If you batted 667 in baseball, you'd be the greatest player who ever lived.
That is true. Yeah, so, but if he was doing a driving test, he'd fail 660.
There you go. Baseball, not driving test. There you go. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm excited to jump in for today.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So we are excited to welcome to the show this morning Erica Kavanaugh, founder, manager, all hats at Honeysuckle Creek Farm. Erica, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning.
It's great to have you. So, for those who haven't met you yet, maybe you could start off telling us a little bit about yourself and maybe how you first became interested in farming and growing in agriculture.
Yeah, so I've been in the Charlottesville area for about 20 years now, about 2 years shy of 20. I did my undergrad at UVA, but my dad's side of the family is from here.
Okay.
So my grandfather lives in Fluvanna. He's on about 75 acres,
and
beautiful. He has been growing a small garden for himself for years and years and years. About 6 years ago, I started going out to help him. And we realized that we put down so much that we're giving produce away left and right. And so we decided let's just try to see what that looks like, trying to sell it to the public. It was a little bit of a rocky start at first. We made some adjustments, and we realized that our bread and butter is value-added products and not selling items fresh. So instead of selling the produce, we use the produce to make other products and sell that instead. And we're farming on about 2 acres right now out of the 75. It's a full family affair. So 4 generations from my grandfather to my daughter and my nephews.
Oh my goodness. 4 generations. That is special.
Lots of little helping working hands, huh?
They help as much as they can.
Yeah.
There have been times where they'll plant a broccoli plant, and then they'll stand up and step on it as they reach for another one. So, okay, here's your section. It's fine. They love to help with the potato harvest. So we make it a game. Everybody gets a bucket and say, go.
Find the potatoes.
Go. And they love it.
Always a great idea to mix the fun with the work, you know. 'Cause I noticed when we were growing up too, it was the same thing. It was like, it felt like my dad would complain. It's like, you worked for 10 minutes, and then the other 15 minutes you played around. I'm like, well, it's how it works, you know. If you can mix it together, maybe you'll get a little better mix of work and play.
Yeah, it's definitely healthy competition between
them.
You
go. Absolutely.
Exactly. And so I guess you started growing and to use for others, and then eventually, how did you decide to say, okay, let's create Honeysuckle Creek Farms as a brand, as a business?
Yeah, so we were just growing so much. It was just giving away like buckets of tomatoes, cucumbers. I remember one year, it was my daughter's 2nd birthday. I brought home a cooler full of cucumbers. My mom gave me a side eye. It's like, cucumber salad for the birthday party? And then we even handed out cucumbers as party favors. Like, it's just too many. So it got to the point, it's like, well, let's just see what this looks like. Like, how can we look at potentially creating generational wealth? Establishing a framework here. I mean, we've been here for years, and my family is from here. And so we started at the CVille market, did okay, expanded over to the Ix Art Park, which is where we've been for the last 3 years. And it's just been kind of like trial and error. There have been moments where we all kind of wanted to give up and quit, and now everybody is full blown into it.
And so what are some of the kind of like different products kind of like that you offer when you're at the market?
Yeah, so right now we're heavily on the pickling right now.
Okay.
So pickled green tomatoes, bread and butter pickles, spicy dill pickles, pickled watermelon rind, and then pickled jalapenos. So pretty much looking at anything that we can do something else with. We'll also do seasoning blends, herbal tea blends, getting into the cocktail scene. So looking at cocktail kits, cocktail syrups, those have been a huge hit. My favorite of the cocktail syrups is a honeysuckle syrup, a lavender and butterfly pea flower one. It's a beautiful color. I call it Mystic Bloom. It's like a purple pink color. So we have a few variety of options. And then also looking at, we were doing edible flowers. While the flowers are great, they serve the purpose for pollinators. We can sell them as fresh flowers, but now my mom has also been making resin jewelry from the flowers. So we have earrings made out of the flowers that we grow on the farm.
Oh, so how does that work? Like you take like the petals or something like that? And
A mix. We'll either do the whole flower, we'll pull flowers apart and just use individual petals. Sometimes we'll mix up different flowers, maybe add a little bit of glitter and glam into it. So my mom is real creative. She's very arts and craftsy. She's loving this side of it. And she's the one who also handles all of our pickling and jellies and jams.
Okay. So. That's a lot of work, the pickling. Woof. Is pickling when you have to kind of like boil? Remind me, you have to boil like the cans beforehand, or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, so we do it over the stove. So we'll boil the jars ahead of time to sterilize them. Then go ahead and do like a vinegar bath with them, some seasoning, get the product in there, and then seal it over heat, like in a hot water bath. Okay. There are other ways to kind of can a little bit as well, but all of our stuff right now is over a hot water bath.
Hot water bath. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that all sounds really good. Yeah. I mean, I've never had pickled. I don't know if I've had pickled green onions. I've had fried green onions, but not pickled. But definitely never the pickled watermelon rind.
Yeah. So we have watermelon coming in like crazy right now. And my philosophy is I want to be able to grow something that we can do more than one thing with. So the watermelon, we look at watermelon jelly, the pickled watermelon rind, and then also I'll dehydrate it, turn it into a powder, mix it with sugar, and make sugar blocks out of it. So you have watermelon sugar blocks that we then use into the cocktail kits.
Wow. That is so creative. I would never think to dehydrate watermelon. Like, I didn't even think you do that.
It's a process.
I bet.
But we do it with the peaches. So we're building out the fruit orchard. So we'll do it with peaches. Once we get our blueberries and strawberries in, we'll do the same thing and start expanding that way. Yeah.
That's really
yes.
And so, so clever to use. And I think the movement into cocktail also makes terrific sense, because I think people are kind of craving, I mean, cocktail syrups have been a huge thing for so long, but you basically, like, your only choice is like the chemical ones that are like, I have no clue what's in this thing, right? So it's so nice that, I know what's in this because it was grown here.
Yes, and I keep it pretty simple. I do add a small amount of preservatives, so citric acid and potassium sorbate, but otherwise we keep it pretty simple. And the nice thing about it is that you don't have to just use it for cocktails. I'll bake with some of them. So I'll put them in like a buttercream frosting to flavor the frosting. I've made brownies with rosemary and hibiscus syrup. I know some people are into mocktails or they don't drink at all, which is great. They can put it inside of like bubbly, like soda water. So there's different ways that people can use them. It doesn't just have to strictly be the cocktails.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, when it's like watermelon or peach, it really is. That's what's really in it. You know, that's fantastic. So how at this point, what are some of the things you're cultivating? So it sounds like you've got fruit orchards, you've got herbs, you've got flowers.
Yeah, so we do what's called companion planting. So we are on a small space, but we're growing a lot in a small space. So if you were to be on the property and look at the row for tomatoes, you'd see a row with not just tomatoes, but basil. I just drew a blank. Basil and marigold, sorry. The marigold are everywhere. I don't know how I forgot that one. I also interplant a little bit of lemongrass to help control the mosquitoes, so I'm not getting bitten too much. Our row with cucumbers also has string beans growing along the bottom, and then we have the cucumbers growing up vertically. So we're like utilizing as much space as possible, but also by companion planting, we're not spraying. So we have very few pests because the marigold and the basil for the tomatoes help keep away those pests. The one thing we get is hornworms, and I just know to keep an eye out for them and pick them off.
Is that the fat little green ones?
Yeah, they can terrorize a garden.
Dad's tomato.
Those are the scariest things I've ever seen.
They're
huge. And I hate that when you kill them, like they're green inside. I'm like, how are they green?
Yeah.
Like it's like it's alien. I don't know. I hate them too. Because the worst part too is, I'm sure you've had this experience. Like you'll suddenly see the tomato plants. Like, why are there so many leaves missing? Like
leaves
on the top?
missing. Yeah.
And then suddenly you see, wait a second, there's bites. Like someone ate the tomato, and then you're like, this thing's gonna be huge. And you're looking, and then as you're getting closer to the plant, you look at the inside.
It's like right next to your face. Yes.
I hate those things. Oh man, bringing up nightmares. Thank you.
We'll pull them off and move them away and say, okay, you go to that side of the property. Like, no.
Exactly. Stay away.
And the worst part too is when my dad would have to guard. My mom's eyesight's terrible, so they'd be like, "Oh, we got a worm." They'd be like, "Mikey, come out. You got to go find the worm." I'm like, "Do I have to? Like, I got to go search through this plant to find the worm."
We need your eyesight.
I don't know
to find the worm, but that's so neat. So the planting things together isn't just for space. Depending what you put nearby, it deters.
They're beneficial
some
to each
of
other.
The pests that would have otherwise attacked the produce.
And it's not just pests like string beans or any beans. They are natural nitrogen fixators, so they'll naturally put nitrogen back into the soil, which helps the plants grow as well. So we'll interplant beans throughout where we're growing all of our produce. Like I had red kidney beans down. Figured, hey, they can just do their own thing. I'm gonna let them dry out, and potentially we'll do like soup kits with the red kidney beans down the road. But the whole time they're also helping to provide additional nutrients into the soil.
The soil. Oh, that is really neat. I like that idea.
Is that what people refer to when they call was it regenerative farming, or am I thinking of something else? Kind of like
a little bit, but it's also goes into things like cover cropping, making sure that you're not putting too much external nutrients into the ground. You're using natural resources to even in the off season to grow something that's going to be beneficial for the ground later. So you'll see farmers throw down a variety of cover crops, let it grow throughout the winter, early spring, and then go ahead and put down cardboard or tarp or something to kind of naturally suppress it down, and then work the debris into the soil again. And so as those plants break down, it's natural organic matter, and it'll help to regenerate the soil.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a great process. Wow.
That's right. Yeah, using the earth.
Yeah.
To heal itself.
Well, so many things you learn about that you didn't even realize. I would have just been like, no, you just take out the tomato plants and next thing you throw them back on again. Like it's just dirt. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, so you obviously experienced this desire to you utilize this land, grow on it. Have you seen in your time at first at City and now at Ick's Market, like an interest from the people you encounter there in a renewed interest or greater interest in like local farming? Like I want to get things from you locally?
Yeah, and I wouldn't even say renewed interest. Ever since I've been at the market, it's been a very strong support. And over the last few years, definitely building up a customer base where people know that, no, I'm going to get my seasoning from this individual. They know that we have the pickled watermelon, rind, and green tomatoes, so they tend to ask, like, oh, where is she? I also will grow microgreens, so I sell those to Botanical Fair. And when I grow too much or I just have an excess, I'll dehydrate them, turn them into a powder, and now you have a healthy green microgreen powder that you can mix into soups, stews, whatever.
Oh, okay, yes.
So I've had people that are asking, like the market staff, hey, is she here today? Because I'm not there every weekend, and they're looking for particular products. So there's definitely been a huge interest and a huge support here. But I wouldn't say it's renewed. I would say that the people who live here have always been really strong supporters of locally grown and local products.
That's awesome. Yeah, 'cause it's so important and so key to for your own health, but also, I mean, for like the community, but also like for your own health.
Yeah.
And the health of our families.
And Erica, you also mentioned some tea mixes. Can you kind of go into that? Because I'm always trying to monitor the tea market because I have two sister-in-laws, and tea's always a good little birthday present.
Yeah. So I actually started the teas as our first value-added product, and it was more of a personal reason. I started doing it at home because I have an autoimmune disease, so I was looking at ways to help reduce inflammation naturally. And so now we have about 10 different tea blends. One is a honeysuckle bloom, so there is honeysuckle in it, as well as some bachelor button flowers, bee pollen, and so I like to bring that one out around the springtime because if you have ever heard about like getting the natural honey for allergies, bee pollen has the same benefits. So that's one I like to bring out early in the spring, especially as we're pulling honeysuckle a little bit later in the spring, and keep that one going for a bit. We have one called Dreamweaver. It is for like a sleep aid, so it has rose petals in it, but also valerian root. So the nice thing about our tea blends is at least one thing that we grow is mixed into each batch, and then we will supplement with some wholesale products. But we are very good about making sure they're grown in a way that we support, so organic as much as possible. And so our wholesaler has been absolutely amazing. I've actually done tea events, so in Haymarket, Virginia, or with, it's now Root to Table. I've done some events with them and have done like a lavender honeybush tea. There's 2 dessert teas. One is a dark chocolate mint. Ooh. And then another one is an apricot cinnamon, and that one I've also blended in marigold flowers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're using everything.
Yes.
Is there anyone that's like your most popular? If you had to say like, this is like the one that kind of flies off the shelf the most.
The lavender honeybush and the hibiscus charm. And so some people get a little hesitant with lavender because if it's too much, it's very soapy and overpowering. The nice thing about the lavender honeybush, it's more honeybush than lavender, and the honeybush gives you natural honey notes.
Yes.
And then the hibiscus charm is lavender and hibiscus together. And they kind of cancel each other out, so it's not too tart, it's not too like flowery, soapy. It's a very nice balance. So those have been the 2 most popular.
Okay,
that's nice.
Keep it in the back of my mind.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I had to keep it track.
Exactly.
Keep it track there. What's it like? What's it been like? Because obviously, you've got one of the things about kind of being an entrepreneur is you've got your this is my farming hat, but then you've got all these other hats. What's it been like being an entrepreneur as well now?
It is a balance, and it's not always an easy balance. I am fortunate enough to work from home, so that makes things a little bit easier when I'm in the middle of something with web development. Maybe I'm running a process in the background, and I can take a moment and say, all right, let me go check on this product and go ahead and get this going. Maybe like the dehydrator needs to be run, or take things out of the dehydrator. So I can give myself a 10-minute break, jump over, do that, and then come back and go to the back to my 9 to 5. It also does help that with me working from home, I'm not commuting into work. that gives me a little bit more time where I can then head out to the property, do something really quick, and come right back. So it's a little rough. There are some really late nights. A lot of times I'm up until 1 o'clock in the morning prepping, especially before a market, if I haven't had time to do certain things. But now that we've been going for a while, we definitely have a rhythm. I have had some people come in to help, which has been fantastic. And so now with the helpers coming in, they know where everything is in the house. This is where all the dried products are, like all the dried ingredients are. Here's the recipe book. Here are all the containers. This is what we need done, and they will knock it out in a heartbeat, and that way I can focus on my actual 9-to-5 job instead. So the help has been...
That beautiful delegation growth phrase. And okay, all right. I do not have to do all of this myself anymore. No, it's definitely it's a real thing, but it's just reminding the audience that like entrepreneurship isn't like it's not this like how do I put it kind of fairy tale thing where it's like, oh yeah, I worked a couple hours here and a couple hours there. That translates into I'm up at 1 a.m. before because someone has to do it, and the buck stops with the entrepreneur, right? You're not, the help will go home before 1 a.m. typically.
Yes. And my daughter even tries to help at the house. So she's 6. She's like, Mom, can I help with anything? I was like, well, you know what? Not this time. But one thing you can help with is just giving Mommy about 15 minutes. I'll get this set up, and then we can go do what we need to. And then once you're in bed, I will finish that because it'll be done, and I can bottle it up, and everything's great. So she is a real trooper about it.
Good for her. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, well, and little by little, right? Well, now you can do this.
Oh, exactly.
So, well, now that you ask, I have some ideas. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So this has been an absolute pleasure. I've learned a whole bunch, and just it's so glad to know that you're here and that you're at It's for sure.
Yes.
But where else should people, if they want to know more, find you guys, know the schedule, where should they go?
Yeah, so we're at the Ix Art Park every other Saturday. So we'll be back there next Saturday, not this upcoming Saturday. We will be at an event on this upcoming Sunday at Eastwood Farm and Winery.
Yes.
They are doing a sangria event, so they're going to use a couple of our syrups with their wines to make some sangrias on site. So I will be there selling some of the cocktail syrups. But then next Saturday, I will be at the farmers market with our full list, and then we'll do every other Saturday from there. We do have a website, honeysucklecreekfarmva.com. Sorry, honeysucklecreekfarm.com. Instagram is Honeysuckle Creek Farm VA.
Got it.
I do try to update the website, but I will admit that that's kind of the last thing on the list. So it's been neglected. It is not updated, but we're working on it. But there is an email subscription for email marketing newsletters to go out. And then there was a law change for the state of Virginia last year, which allows us to sell at more events. So this past year, we were at the Hanover Tomato Festival. So I grew up in Hanover County, Virginia. My dad's side is from Albemarle, Fluvanna. So it was kind of like going home for me.
Yes.
And then we had the pickled green tomatoes, and people were loving it. It was fantastic. So we'll probably do that again next year. And then looking for other events. But it is one of those that we're not trying to do it every weekend. We would like to live our lives a little bit, so trying to keep it down to every other as far as selling as much as possible.
Yeah, it's just you know the cadence. So if you're out there every other Saturday, so set your calendar for not this Saturday, but the following one, and then just every 2 weeks. Put that thing
But this Sunday, you could get Erica at Eastwood Farm and Vineyard.
Yep.
Yep. Get a little
sangria.
Yep.
That's never
Which
a bad
sounds-
way to spend a Sunday.
No. I don't think anybody would complain about that, especially now that we've heard how the flavors of these syrups. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
they sound really good. Well, Eric, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so
It
much
was
for
so
coming
great
on.
being here.
Thank
Thank you for
coming on.
having me.
No,
Our
thank
pleasure.
you.
Yeah.
So as we made a swap here, be sure to check out, it's a beautiful website, honeysucklecreekfarm.com.
Yes.
And you'll get details. And from there, you can, all the way at the top right, just click that little Instagram button.
Yeah, I mean, I was
You don't
going
even
through
have
it
to
too. There's
memorize,
even like
yeah.
a products tab, and you could kind of go through all the stuff that Erica,
Oh yeah,
and
it has like
family
the herbal,
has, yep.
the seasoning blends, the herbal tea. So it's, I mean, it's a beautiful website. So be sure to check that out. And next Saturday at Itch. I mean, we've had on a number of people from Itch. So never a bad reason.
There's
to
so
go.
many great entrepreneurs at the farmers market. That's one of the best parts about actually going to the farmers market.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get to see these little farms, these little pop-ups, kind of all doing their own thing. We've had bakers, we've had farm folks, we've had other people who kind of do like little jewelry and stuff like that.
Jewelry, like
trinkets.
culinary, like some treats and
Yeah, it's
and so forth. It's
everything.
been-
Yeah, I even see people who sell like these gourmet dog treats. Yeah, I know. It feels like they make a killing. So many people get in the gourmet dog treats.
Gourmet dog treats. So there you go. You
The
want
people
to-
love their dogs.
They
You
do.
know,
They want them
They
to-
treat their dogs better than they probably treat themselves. I wouldn't get my dog a gourmet. I'm like, well, yeah, you eat what I eat. I mean, hello, I'm not gonna,
What do you do?
Well, because you have this gourmet dog treat. It's like, it feels like
I
it's
know.
more than a blueberry muffin. I'm kind of like, wait a second. I'll just get the blueberry muffin and give it to the
And
dog.
just the dog. But it's so always a good reason to go to Itch. And shout out Vanessa Parkhill watching the show this morning. One of our favorite
The
audience
queen of
members.
Earlysville, right?
Yeah, I think that's Jerry's
Jerry's
nickname for
up
her.
there.
The Queen of Earlysville. So thanks so much for tuning in this morning. And I mean, from one great guest to another. I mean, he needs no introduction, but I will introduce him anyway. It's the one and only Matthias Yohn here for our monthly meetup with Matthias. Matthias,
Yes.
it's been a while for me too. I've missed you as well. So good to be here when you're here.
Always glad to be here. And you're right, Alex. It's been a few months
Yes.
that you, had the pleasure of sitting at that chair, right? It was usually Michael and then
Yes,
your
exactly.
dad.
Yep,
often,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, Matthias
Well-
got tired of seeing me and Xavier. He's like, "Where's Alex? I don't want to come on the show unless Alex is here."
I made very specific requests this time, but no one listened. And here we are again.
But no, it's great to be here on with you, and just it's always good, especially because I know it's funny. I was so glad Erica was on first, because I know one of the things that's always on your heart, in areas is just all the amenities and good things that we have around the area. One of which is like the farmers market, the surrounding countryside. I know it's something that's you bring up often on the show.
Yeah, and I did not know Erica's farm at all. We have many farms in our area, and they probably all go to the X Park, to the farmers market, or here downtown. But I'm always interested in learning what they offer.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's very creative and something I haven't seen before. I was just listening to Erica talk about her tea blends, and they
Yes.
do spices and herbs. It's not the first thing that comes to mind when I think of a farm, right? I always think of fruits and produce, and but yeah, it's true. Over the years, the X Farmers Market has developed into a large and rather and into a market with a lot of variety. If you think about it, do you ever go there?
Oh, I do. I do sometimes. It's amazing what you can find. And it's true so much more than just the produce. I mean, I would say, this is just speaking from when I've been there. A lot of times, I would say at least half of the people there are not even there looking for produce. Like they're there because I want to eat something.
It's
I
an
want to get
activity.
something.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. Like I would say, 1/3 of the market's produce people. 1/3 is just people selling you like treats and baked goods, and then the other third is just people kind of selling trinkets. Like there's even someone there who does like a little poetry thing, like where it's like you go up to them and they'll write like a little poem for you.
Yeah,
So it's like the creativity that comes from the markets is very.
It's designed to be a family activity, right? Saturday morning, most people have time to leisurely walk there, and as you said, it's not just to get your produce; it's also to spend time there. I see people go there in little groups as families. You can drink wine there. You can eat lunch. You can have breakfast. Coffee shops. You can buy books and postcards and poetry. And that's right. It's always funny to see. And the other Saturday, I went to the X Park to that said farmers market, and then I noticed that there is a bit of a hype around very particular farms or vendors. There's one farm that would have a huge line of people waiting, even though the vendor in the next booth has pretty much the same variety to offer, let's say berries, but for whatever reason, this one farm had a huge following, and so sometimes I wonder, is it because they have a good, social media marketing, where they're able to create a TikTok hype around their berries? No, that's,
I think wonder sometimes too. It's also word of mouth. Like people have gotten fruit from a certain stand, been like, "Oh, it's really good." So someone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go there." I mean, because a couple of times there's a certain farm that's had eggplants, and now a couple of times my brother Nick, when he wanted eggplants, said, "Can you get those eggplants? Because we got them once and they were delicious." So every once in a while, even just last week, he went to that particular farm where they had the little stand and got those eggplants because he knows that they're good. Now there's other little setups at other little farms that have eggplants, but we go to that one because it's good. You have the experience with it. So
that sounds like Nick. Yeah. He wants his food from a very particular place, and he makes sure he gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he would be the guy that said, "Yeah, I know an eggplant dye. That's the eggplant dye. That's the eggplant from him."
Nick is an Italian old man.
Oh,
in that regard,
yes,
right?
he certainly.
And I mean this in a very positive way.
Hat, Italian shirt. Forget about it.
Absolutely. I mean, have you found are things like that? I've always wondered, are things like that something that ever comes up when people want to consider moving to a place like Charlottesville? Does anybody ask you ever are there things like farmers markets and local food, or is it kind of more like at the bottom of a list of wants?
Well, I think many people have that on their mind because it's part of the appeal for them, right? When selecting our area, whether it's Central Virginia or Charlottesville in particular, it is. There are aspects that are just interesting and appealing to people when they move here, unless it's job related. Then the farmers market or the restaurant scene is probably secondary. But sure, I mean, let's remember why retirees move here. For example, why are climate refugees from Florida moving? and it's the area offers a variety of amenities that we are all so happy to have, that we are proud to have access to, right? And in fact, the lifestyle aspect is a big one, right? Let's look at the different reasons people have to live in our area, to stay here, to move here, to refuse to move away.
Yep.
And we are facing challenges. So it's not that everything is perfect and just easy and inconvenient to live here. Affordability is a big problem, right? And so that's the challenge, not only Charlottesville, but the surrounding counties that are part of that trend are facing right now. And so you're absolutely right to ask, what is it that people are looking for when they consider moving here? And the lifestyle amenities are a big one. We have plenty of them. But that popularity also leads to that never-ending question of, how can we maintain that balance? And in fact, let me tell you about that in particular. As a realtor, I'm part of CAR, right? Yep. And that's the association of us real estate professionals here in the area. And so I'm involved in a few boards there. And so what we are doing right now is we are interviewing candidates of the surrounding counties that are applying for the Board of Supervisors, right? So in particular, that's Greene County, that is Louisa, Fluvanna, and Nelson. All those counties are part of the CAR footprint. And the reason why we are interviewing them is because we want to find out who are the candidates that align with our values as CAR. For example, who is advocating for affordable housing, who is interested in working with VDOT on safe and accessible infrastructure, and so on. And then we can decide on whether we as CAR want to endorse them and how we end up doing that. And it's it's a great opportunity for me and others to really learn how those candidates want to support policies and initiatives that support those initiatives and frankly align with the values of the community and the needs and the demands and so on. Otherwise, we just have media, but this is firsthand interaction with them. Very interesting. And so what we are learning, what I'm taking away from that is that all the counties struggle with that balance, right? You just asked me what are the amenities. All those counties have advantages or have amenities that people care about. That might be the reason they want to move there, right? And so as we are experiencing growth, whether it's in Charlottesville or in, let's say, Louisa County, there's always this challenge of maintaining what is there, what has been attractive for people in the first place, like to residents that grew up here or that moved here, and how do we grow in a sustainable manner.
In a way that doesn't take away from why people moved there in the first place.
Yes, and so there are specific mechanisms in place that help regulate that, and there are smart people that work on that, and then also people that don't do that good of a job, right? That's why we always have that discussion, of course, and one of those mechanisms is, of course, zoning, right? And on a very local level here in Charlottesville, we are currently experiencing the controversy around that, and so it shows me that that's on everyone's mind, maintaining that balance. We want to remain attractive, and we want to, support those local businesses and amenities, whether it's a brewery or a tourist site in Nelson County, whether it's the agritourism or the historic aspect of Charlottesville that makes this place so special. All that need to be maintained. At the same time, we want to grow because we are in a popular area, and so how do you do that, right? That's the question that Charlottesville is facing, but all the surrounding counties as well. That's what
they're impacted by, right? As the more attractive Charlottesville, Albemarle becomes, sooner or later, right? There are so many people that no longer fit, and so where do you go next? You say, well, okay,
right.
I wanted to move in this area. I no longer want to maybe be in Charlottesville, Albemarle, or I can't afford to be there. Okay, well, who's right next door?
Right.
Where I can get some of what I want.
Yeah.
Or who knows? I mean, depending what amenities they want, they may say I get more of what I want by being in one of the surrounding counties.
Exactly. So, in that particular example, affordability, residents are being priced out of Charlottesville, right? We can say that. That's a true statement. And so those end up living in Augusta County or Waynesboro, for example, right? So those counties are opening up for those commuters, but also for people that like to live in the area and can work from home, that they don't mind the drive, even though the drive is not long anyway. It's about half an hour. So, that's what Augusta County opened up for. We have a lot of new development in the Waynesboro, Stewart's Draft, Fishersville area, and that's great because people are being priced out of Albemarle County and Charlottesville. But then we also have, buyers that move here for a lifestyle, and I always consider Nelson County to be for those seeking a specific lifestyle, right? Because you still have a lot of nature there. You have a different pace of life, right? Which also means you won't have major subdivisions in Nelson County, even though they're discussing this right now too, and they have their comprehensive plans looking into the future and what changes need to be made. But as we are interviewing those candidates for BOS, we also learned that many of the candidates, they want a slower, sustainable growth, whatever that means for them. But it usually means no big developments, please, right? And in some areas, it's simply not feasible. But yeah, speaking about growth, Louisa County, have you heard about the data center controversy?
Yes.
And isn't it a good example? On the one hand, it makes so much sense because it's a huge tax revenue driver. The data centers too are already there. They put money back into the pocket of the county, and so that serves everyone who lives in the county. You would say, in theory. For example, it's basically free infrastructure for the county, right? But it also has downsides because it forever changes the nature of the county. And in particular with the data centers, the concern is, what about the water, right? A lot of residents are concerned, those data centers need a lot of water. Do we have enough? So what's the downside for those that live there? And so you have those pros and cons, and it's difficult for those in charge to decide on that because they have to weigh in on the pros and cons, and it's not all just positive, and residents have mixed feelings about it. And that's a good example of, data centers is not a topic in every county, but it's a good example for this challenge of maintaining a balance that serves everyone.
Well, it's a good example, I think, of what growth looks like. In other words, it's not always like, okay, you just grow because more people show up and nothing changes, and more people show up and nothing changes, and you just get more money coming in. So, no, growth looks like, okay, this will come, it will bring maybe some jobs, it will bring some infrastructure for sure, it will bring some revenue, but it will change X, Y, and Z. It will change the appearance of something, right? Or even something like, okay, a bunch of people want to move because you have all these amenities, you have a lot of green space. Well, if they all come and move, do we build a development? Development means they can all come enjoy the green space with us, but if you build too many developments, there's less green space. I remember my mother-in-law from Germany, one of her big things which she came and said, oh, it's so nice that it reminds me of Germany because there's all this green space like in Bavaria. And of course, and our thinking was, because I had been venting a little and saying, yeah, I mean, it's obviously because they don't let you in a lot of areas put any developments or build or split up land, it means that it's an affordability issue, right? And then she said, yes, but at the same time, that means you have to keep the green space. Like, in other words, if it's all one big farm and you can't change it, then it stays green. And I said, well, that's true. I mean, if you want to look out and see a whole bunch of mountains, you can't fill it up with things. So it's keeping that balance, because at the same time, you don't want to make a place where it says, well, no one can ever afford to live here because it's so expensive, and we'll never build again. And that's how you end up with scenarios that we kind of experienced in kind of the 2022 time frame, which like, man, there's nothing there. You can't find a house anywhere. And if one shows up, everybody's bidding in 3 days, right? Because there wasn't inventory. So it's finding that balance, and growth kind of looks more like that. It's a little bit messy. Good people can disagree, and you have to make trade-offs.
It's ironic, right? We always want two things at the same time. We want growth, but also don't change anything.
It's so true.
And I'm not, I'm guilty of that too. I'm a resident of the area now for 11 years, and there's always this voice in me that says, "Oh, stop building that. Don't cut this tree down, because I want things to stay the way they were when I moved here and fell in love with the area in the first place." At the same time, I'm part of, I work in real estate, so I see development, and I see the need for more housing. So how do we combine those things? Right?
Yeah.
My wife, she was born and raised in Albemarle County. She still remembers when Crozet was just starting to get developed, when Old Trail was still a farm. Okay, that makes her sound like she's very old. She's not. But, but Old Trail, how old is it? 20, 25 years old.
Exactly.
And so, the
this
area
is
changes. And
recent.
Well, I remember when Crozet, like literally the only thing I heard of was there was like a Crozet pizza that sometimes people go to, but you never heard of anyone actually like going to Crozet or hanging out in Crozet or even like living in Crozet. It was just like, nah, there's only like Crozet pizza out there. But now it's like, it's a busy
Just
area.
a whole bunch.
Yeah.
But
I know a couple of people who live there now.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
yeah.
You know some of those dang people that they keep moving into those developments in Crozet. But of which I'm guilty. But then you appreciate that it was there because it was affordable.
And then right next to Old Trail, you see the houses of those that lived there, for 2-3 generations. They're not too happy about the tax increase.
Exactly.
But at the same time, they benefit from other amenities that have been created. Physicians, schools. It's one of the best school districts in the state. So it's always a up and down, pro and con scenario. Have you heard of the Spanish people in the tourist areas that are now on the barricades, and
and spraying people.
They march through the streets. They want less tourism, even though it helped their local economy for a long time. But it's too much because that balance is not there anymore. Or in Italy on the Amalfi Coast or the Mallorca.
It's the trade-off.
There's so many examples.
I saw a video of a travel guide, a travel expert, and he was going through Sorrento on the Amalfi Coast and saying all the little shops that were once privately owned selling what they made, like ceramic and so forth, they've all been replaced by like cheap Chinese knockoffs and things like that. Because what happens, the people who worked those shops lived above them. When the places above them got turned into Airbnbs for tourists and they got kicked out, they don't live in Sorrento anymore. They had to go and live out in the country. So they can't keep the shop. I can't keep the shop. I can't keep the shop if I have to drive in every day. I didn't have a car. So their shop is now out in the countryside somewhere where they make the ceramic, and who moved in underneath is some big company that says, I buy all my stuff, my little cheap, things all my little cheap lemons, my cheap plastic lemons from China, I put them in this shop and I sell them to tourists because that's the only people that are there anymore. And so you feel sad, but you say, well, there was somewhere in there was a balance, and they lost it. And so you want to so you see there what's happening, and then you say, okay, how do we make sure that you want tourism, obviously in Charlottesville and Albemarle, but how do you make sure that it doesn't become, what do they call Venice, like an outdoor theme park, where it's not real anymore. No one actually lives there except people for tourists. So you want to bring people in for the wineries and the market, but you want to make sure also that the people that are there are also actually living here. Not just that, the only people that live here sell to tourists. That's it. So, but it's hard because in the meantime, there's the enticement of, tourism revenue is great because they don't use up any amenities, right? They just show up, spend money, pay the meals tax, pay the hospitality tax, and leave. But it's finding that balance.
And oftentimes, the business is moving into the area, whether it's a data center or a vineyard. They promise a lot of things, and to be fair, some of those opportunities are being created, but not always. For example, people expected the data centers to bring hundreds of jobs. As we now know, that's not the case. Most of them live somewhere else and moved here with the company.
Yes.
Right? And so, the challenge is to be realistic. And we throw this word around a lot today, but balance, right? And that's a challenge itself.
Yeah, but this is one people understand because it sounds like from what you're describing, it's one of the reasons people move here in the first place. That they themselves are looking for balance. Because if all you wanted to do was work and go and have a nightlife than you would just live in DC.
DC or
Right?
Richmond, the
Northern
Short Pump
Virginia,
area.
Richmond. Like you come here because you're trying to balance that with something else, with the lifestyle, with maybe the slower pace of Nelson or something like that, right? And so you don't move here, but say, I want to move to Charlottesville so I can work all day long and then, work until 8 p.m. Right? That's typically not why you would move here. So they themselves are looking for a balance. And the community is just, I think, reflecting what they themselves are looking for.
Yes, and I personally think we need to make sure that everyone that lives here or that is part of that larger community benefits from it, right? Not only a select few. And I always say when those people that make the area a enjoyable, safe, accessible space can no longer afford to live here, then we have a problem, right? And again, everyone's talking about it. It's not new, but I'm actively following this because that's what I'm generally concerned about. There's no Charlottesville police officer that lives in Charlottesville.
It's just crazy to think about.
It's a good example.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There are lots of aspects that make people want to move here, right? For me, it was a relationship 11 years ago, but there are lots of things that I discovered about Central Virginia that made me stay.
It made you stay.
Right?
Exactly.
And that make this place home for me and for so many of my clients. Right? Your perspective is a little different because you grew up here. You were born and raised here.
Well,
and you just see the
We
influx.
came a little
Yeah.
before you, but we came in 2008. So we.
Oh, that's right. So
Yeah,
not
we're-
even
we're
you. You
kind
were
of
not
your
born
class.
here
No,
either,
I was
Michael.
born in California.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it is we're your class that came for UVA, stayed for Charlottesville, kind of person, which I think is extremely common.
Yes.
Or even I've often heard come for UVA, leave, but
And then come back,
then
yeah.
come back,
Yeah.
then come back, which I'm sure you
I hear
probably
that a
get
lot.
some of.
Yeah, that's true. Or even those that have a temporary assignment here in a professional way, 4 or 5 years, and then end up staying.
Exactly.
Right?
They never leave because it has that balance. Because it just, as someone who lived, maybe because we lived, so we never, I have no memories of living in New York City, in Brooklyn, but
Were you born there?
I was born in Manhattan, technically,
Okay.
but we moved when I was 3. But the family was there, so we go back up to New York City frequently. So we've got a lot of experience of what that looks like. And then we grew up in a town that basically in California had like 4,000 people in it. And so we know what that looks like. And it's amazing that you see, as soon as we moved here, we saw probably even beforehand, is what drew us to it, reflected kind of the balance of those things. Says the town of 4,000, there was a symphony, but like your closest sports is 2 hours away in San Francisco. Your closest big symphony is 2 hours away in San Francisco. Your peers with a lot of restaurants and things like that, maybe a couple like 30 minutes
Yeah.
away, but the best stuff is 2 hours away.
It was a place more for retirees, so of course it was all about the nature and quiet, and probably there wasn't one restaurant that opened past 8 o'clock, so there's no
Exactly.
such thing as a nightlife, you know?
But and then obviously in New York City you have all the like things to do amenities, endless restaurants, endless
Bars, endless
bars,
everything.
24 hours
you
a
have
day.
tons, a bunch of sports teams, right? But you have a nice big green patch in the middle of Manhattan, and then the rest is the concrete jungle. And if you want to get anywhere, I want to go 8 miles, I'll be prepared. You're going to be in the car for 2 hours, right? And Charlottesville, it combines them both. So you see the appeal that you don't feel often like you're in a big city, but you have a lot of the things that you would look for in a big city.
Well, think about it. Like when you go on the 29th, there's like a 10-minute stretch where it's like, stores and restaurants and, car dealerships and bowling alleys, whatever. Like you feel like you're kind of like in a big city, but you go 10 minutes outside either way of the 29, and suddenly you're in the country. You
Wineries.
you got mountains, you got wineries, you have the green fields, like Monica would mention. You know what I'm saying? Either way, whether you're going towards Ruckerville, you're going towards Ivy. It's either way, so it's pretty incredible.
Last weekend I was in Richmond with a client. I don't usually work in Richmond. It's not my area of expertise, but I was doing him a personal favor, and so spent the entire day. We were looking at different business locations, and I realized again that Richmond is too big of a city for me. And I've lived in Cologne, Munich, Berlin, and lots of big cities in my life, and a city of 200,000 people is what Richmond has currently, I think, is too large for me. That's just where I am in my life. I'm 40 years old now. I have a family. Charlottesville is the perfect size. And I even here I sometimes complain about the traffic on
As New Yorkers, that's our. Whenever people would say that there used to be a really big holdup on 29 by the.
Whole Foods.
All the chicken stores, the chicken alley, over there, right?
The cock block.
Yeah, there you go. And people would be like, "Oh man, I sat for like 10 minutes in that thing," and my dad and I.
You would chuckle.
You sat 10 minutes at a light. I mean, in New York City, you sit an hour and you're like, "I have not moved in an hour." But it's just so funny. But then that's why we like being here, because. You only sit for 10 minutes at a line. But it's just, it makes you appreciate why, when you go out, it makes you appreciate what we have here.
It really does, yeah. And sometimes it's worth remembering that when I sit in my 10-minute traffic jam and complain about it, right?
Exactly.
It's all relative.
Well, I mean, this has been, it's amazing how quickly almost a half an hour passes by.
Half an hour, right? Well, we'll cover the next part in a month.
Oh, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And as Michael said, it'll be September and almost time for our Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I mean, well, and I think it was Monica who told me that in a lot of places they start Oktoberfest in September.
Oh, so we could
Because
just do
they
2
start some of the
Oktoberfest shows.
harvest- Well, they start some of the harvest at that point.
They always start end of September, leading into the first week of October, but the name is Oktoberfest. Yeah. But yeah, so our small German-American association, we will have our Oktoberfest again. Not sure yet where, but yeah. Oh yeah, you joined us last year. You should come again.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah.
Even as
Come
someone
again.
who did not speak German, it was still fun. But I was amazed. I met someone there that, of all things, was born 20 minutes away, or lived 20 minits from my wife's home. Well, my wife's family's hometown, which only has like about 800 people in it. And I'm like, what are the odds that you
What are the odds?
go halfway across the world? And he's like, I know that town. I live 20 minutes. And I'm like, how? But that's what happens when you go to the Stammtisch, is what it's called, right?
Yeah, that's our monthly get
The
together.
monthly get together. Okay.
That's right.
But that's that was a lot of fun.
Well,
Well,
then bring your wife and your baby.
we'll do. We'll do this time. I don't think she quite fits in the journal yet, but we'll try. We'll try. But Matthias, this has been a blast as always.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Always
and
a pleasure having you.
listening to me.
No, we love
We love the
chatting with
conversation.
you. I always learn new things. You're also a little feed for me on what's going on. Okay, I remember hearing about that, but Matthias knows more details than I
The
do.
monthly update with Matthias.
Exactly. This has been fun. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Abe Garcia, thanks for tuning in. Forget free if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Habibola Amadi, thanks for tuning in this morning. Neil Williamson, thanks for liking the show this morning. Thanks everyone for your likes and shares. Always appreciate everyone. Next week, 2 weeks from now, we'll be having on from German to Spanish. We're going to be having on Andrea Jacobs from CVille Sabroso Festival.
Yes, that's coming in September.
That's our classic Latino festival here in Charlottesville. So be sure to check that out.
Alex is going to wear his Was it sombrero?
Well, sombrero would be, I don't know what the Cuban was. Sombrero obviously is classic Mexican, the wide rimmed hat. Spain, it would be sombrero de tres pitos, but I don't know what it would be called in Cuban. Maybe also just sombrero. I mean, sombrero just means hat.
Yeah.
So it might just be the same thing.
That is true.
In Cuba. But
Yeah.
who knows? We'll see.
Well, maybe Xavier can give us a hint.
Exactly,
Maybe
he'll
Xavier
know.
wears something.
He'll know the answer. But be sure to check that out. Of course, be sure to check out Matias Realty, of course. We love that. And Honeysuckle Creek Farm. Be sure to check that out. You can find, of course, on our Today Mañana Facebook page all our fantastic interviews, a whole bunch of, just speaking of things to do and people who are here, making this a better place. Be sure to check that out. All their interviews are on there. It was great being on with you.
Happy to have you back, Alex. The chair was cold and empty.
Oh,
we
thank
needed
you.
it filled.
I'm glad to warm it up. Glad to warm it up. I don't know if Jerry will be glad I warmed it up, but I'm glad to warm it up. But of course, love Charlottesville Opera that they were a great partner of ours through their season. They'll have another. They're always doing new things, so be sure to check them out. Merger Financial Services. Love being on the I Love CVille Network set. Love Judah Whiptower behind the camera, making us all look
Alex
good.
loves everybody today.
I love everybody today. I'm just glad to be back. I love you, the audience. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. But until that time, as we like to close it out on the show, hasta mañana.